On November 15, 2021, President Biden signed into law the $1.2 trillion Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, commonly known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Deal. A PDF of this law, linked in this video's description, is over 1,000 pages long. While politicians celebrated the passage of this legislation and touted the projects it would fund, there were some things buried in that law that did not receive much media coverage. I am Dr. John Padfield. I'm a business professor and a former Indiana state representative, and this is Business Reform, where we discuss issues at the intersection of business, technology, and society. In this video, I want to discuss a couple of provisions out of this law that will have a tremendous negative impact on our privacy and quite possibly our wallets in the coming years. For example, Section 13002 of this law is entitled National Motor Vehicle Per Mile User Fee Pilot, and the law explains that a per mile user fee means a revenue mechanism that is applied to road users operating motor vehicles, and it is based on the number of miles traveled on the road. This law, celebrated by politicians on both sides of the aisle, directs the Secretary of Transportation to establish a pilot program to, quote, test the design, acceptance, implementation, and financial sustainability of a national motor vehicle per mile user fee. Today, private vehicle drivers pay the federal government 18.4 cents per gallon for every gallon of gasoline they purchase, in addition to the state taxes on gasoline, which vary from 15 to 67 cents per gallon depending on the state. While Congress could just increase the federal gasoline tax and come up with a different way of assessing usage fees for electric vehicles, they instead decided to mandate a pilot program that charges drivers by the mile driven, which is much more intrusive of our privacy. If you are wondering how the federal government will know how many miles that you drive, that is also addressed in this bipartisan law. The Secretary of Transportation is instructed to use third-party onboard diagnostic devices, smartphone applications, telemetric data collected by automakers, and motor vehicle data obtained by insurance companies. The obvious privacy concerns over this test program have been written about in detail in The Intercept, and I've included a link to that article in the description of this video. While this program is just a test pilot for now, the clear implication is this is the direction Congress wants to go in the future, and they are just working out the details. How soon will this per mile fee be forced upon every driver? I have no idea. For what it's worth, the $7.5 billion in the 2021 Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill to help build 500,000 EV charging stations had only led to the creation of 8 charging stations as of May 2024. But let's get back to another privacy concern from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill. Another provision in the law can be found on page 831, Section 24220, entitled Advanced Impaired Driving Technology. The findings section gives some alarming statistics about alcohol-related motor vehicle accidents and then concludes, quote, to ensure the prevention of alcohol-impaired driving fatalities, advanced drunk and impaired driving prevention technology must be standard equipment in all new passenger motor vehicles. I have to admit I have mixed emotions over this provision. I am a long-distance road cyclist, and twice I have ridden my bike 160 miles across the state of Indiana. I am all for cracking down on impaired and distracted drivers, as they pose a serious personal safety threat to me and to the safety of countless other people. But what exactly would this impaired driving prevention technology look like, and when would it be required? Let's just say it's complicated. The law does not directly specify how the technology will work, only what it is supposed to do. To better understand what the technology will look like, we need to dig deeper. Specifically, we need to look at the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, NHTSA, who Congress tasked with working out the details. NHTSA was given 3 years to issue a final rule prescribing a federal motor vehicle safety standard to require motor vehicles manufactured after the effective date of that rule to have drunk and impaired driving prevention technology. NHTSA has been conducting its own assessment of driver monitoring technologies, and they have noted that camera-based driver monitoring systems have been in vehicles since 2018 for monitoring driver inattention, and that many other camera-based driving monitoring systems are used for drowsiness detection. However, the technology to measure alcohol impairment is still in the research stage. So it appears likely in the near future, all automakers will be required by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Deal to have driver-facing cameras monitoring drivers as they drive down the road. But don't worry, I'm sure once those cameras are in place, the data they generate will never be collected, repurposed, and abused by data traffickers. Do you support Congress's plan to charge drivers based on the number of miles they drive and to require driver-facing cameras in new cars? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching.